Hi friends, how annoying is lag in Apex Legends for you? What's worse is that you get all those lag connection symbols that pop up in the corner of your screen and you have no idea what they mean. Well, I've got you covered in this video because I'm going to explain what all of those little symbols mean. Now for this video, I'm going to focus on the new lag symbols in Apex Legends. If you're experiencing any of the older symbols, I've actually already made a video for those and I'll put a link at the end of this video for you to click through and watch. Also, please can I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons? It really helps me out if you do that, so thank you. Let's start with today's video, and the first lag symbol we'll cover is the circle with the heartbeat like Z-shaped line in it. This symbol indicates UCMD delay, which is essentially input lag. Input lag is the gap or lag between the time you press a button on your controller or a key on your mouse or keyboard and when your legend performs that respective action in the game. You'll typically find controller players suffer from this symbol more often because controllers tend to have a lot more lag than something like a gaming keyboard and mouse. But it is relatively universal and you can get this on pretty much any device. The scale of which this symbol indicates can vary. Sometimes it's light and you don't really notice it, and sometimes it's really more noticeable when you click that button but the action isn't performed until 5-10 seconds later in game. Typically this is related to the input of your device, but I have seen situations where the server's causing the input of my device to be delayed. So often when you get those laggy or slow motion servers, you might see this symbol. However, a lot of the time it can also be on your side. So typically if you're using something wireless like a wireless controller and you're struggling, try a wired controller or a wired mouse and keyboard, or even upgrading to a gaming monitor with a higher refresh rate can help you, but I only recommend trying those things out if you're experiencing this issue every game. If it's very occasionally that you're experiencing this issue, it might actually be something out of your control. The next lag connection input symbol is the rewind symbol in a circle with two server rectangular box icons next to it. Now this indicates a lag compensation error. Lag compensation errors are when the server is attempting to rewind time by returning a player, i.e. you, to an instance of the game and to a time or state it was in when a player entered a command, i.e. you pressed the button for an action and it's trying to take you back to when you originally pressed that action. Now this one often pops up when you experience yourself glitching between spaces, or often when you move forward and then it takes you back a few steps to where you just were and you then repeat the action you just did. That's generally when this icon will pop up. There's not too much you can do with this one. It tends to be more on the server side, but it could have something to do with your internet connection. So maybe just check that things are connected correctly for you. Next up are a series of similar looking icons that all relate to connection errors, but they are slightly different from each other. The first has a volume speaker type icon with a circle and an arrow. This stands for data error. It essentially means that your game isn't processing the related data correctly and your game's connection is suffering as a consequence. Typically it's more of a connection error, but it could be either on your side or the server side. There isn't really a way to tell, but if you're constantly getting it, you might just want to check your network connections, have a look at your Ethernet cable and make sure it's plugged in correctly. The next symbol is a very similar looking symbol. You've got that volume speaker icon again, but this time it's got a clock next to it. It means starvation. This is a very common one for computer and PC users, but also console users as well. It generally appears when your console PC doesn't have enough available resources to complete a task or action that the game requires. Now the thing is, resource could mean a few different things. For example, it could be that your internet connection isn't providing enough resource for your console or PC. An example of when this could happen is, let's say your mum's watching Netflix or your sister's having a call on Skype with her boyfriend and you're trying to play Apex, but you don't have ultra fast FTTP. You might start getting this symbol because your bandwidth is being throttled. So really it's just checking to make sure your internet connections are okay, and you can have a look at your ISP data to make sure your bandwidth isn't being throttled. It might be a case of you having to negotiate with your mum to do a few extra chores if she stops watching Netflix for a couple of hours. Oh yeah, another little tip is if you're using a PC and you've got loads of internet tabs open, or even if you're playing on console and you've got a PC or laptop and you've got loads of internet tabs running and you're watching loads of YouTube videos at the same time, it might just be worth closing those down while you're trying to play Apex. Next up is the volume speaker icon with ascending bars next to it. This signifies limits. Now this one is generally related to your internet hitting its capacity, and so the game is struggling to carry out the in-game actions. That means this error could be caused by an upper internet limit being reached. For example, if your internet data allowance has reached its maximum for the month and you've got no more internet data allowance left, and that means the game just can't access as much of the network as it needs to keep the game running steadily online. Now typically if you see this error, it's going to be on your side if you've got a data limit. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do if you reach your limit. You would just need to increase your data allowance, or wait until the next month when your data allowance resets. However, if you've got an unlimited data plan on your internet, then in reality you shouldn't be seeing this error pop up. The final lag connection symbol for today's video is the volume speaker icon again, but this time with a location pin drop icon next to it. This one is for issue marker. It's actually a generic symbol that signifies a connection problem that isn't related to one of the previous ones I mentioned. As it's unspecified, there isn't a specific fix you can do, and it also means this doesn't have a specific meaning. It's connection related though, so it's worth checking your internet connections, not just your console or PC. Also check the router as well, make sure the connections are all in place and secured. You could also try restarting your router as well. If you've got limited bandwidth or slow internet, this could be a symbol you see pop up a fair few times, and unfortunately there isn't much you can do in that scenario. It's also worth noting some of these connection issues that I've talked about might be out of your control, as internet service providers are very well known to throttle your internet speeds when there's lots of traffic on their networks, and so you might find at peak hours you get a lot of these connection issues popping up through no fault of your own. Unfortunately, there's really not much you can do about that, but that should give you an idea of a few little things you can do to try and fix some of the connection lag issues in Apex Legends. And hopefully this video gives you a better idea of what these symbols mean as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.